I'm going to call the meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission to order. Like, do I need a motion for that? No, okay. First thing, item 2, let's take a review the minutes from February 9th. Are there any comments? I have one. I feel like there's an echo. Am I too close?
It's a reverb.
It's outside.
Okay, thank you. I'll wait till Shelley gets back since it's a typo that needs to be fixed. Did anyone else have anything else? Okay, so I just noticed that on item 6.1 for the parklet, where there was the motion made by Vice Chair Tanner, that the vertical elements closet to the curb, I meant closest. Minor typo. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
All right, motion carries. Do we vote? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? I think you recuse yourself since you weren't.
I'm abstaining.
And you abstain?
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry, I forget these things. All right, moving on to public comment. This is where people desiring to address the commission on an item that is not on the agenda can speak for up to 3 minutes. Just a note, feel free to come up. I'm just going to say that the Brown Act limits our ability to respond because these are for items that are not on the agenda, and thus, therefore, they would be referred to staff or on a future agenda.
So, good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for letting me speak tonight. I'm Jackie Hermes Fletcher, and I'm a member of the Ocean View Community Organic Garden Steering Committee in Ocean View Park. And I ask you all to come and visit it. At the end of the month, on Sunday, we're going to have an open working day there from 11 to 1, March 26th. Members of our garden are speaking at the Parks and Rec Department, commission meetings to advocate for our garden to move to Area B, the dog park, on Carmel and Thousand Oaks, as the city has told us this will happen in the future. We were surprised when they came to us and told us the plan to move the garden. And we quickly realized that Area B has the sun and the warmth and the space that Ocean View Park just doesn't afford our garden. Our free master gardener classes in the garden will also reach many more community gardens because it will many more community members because it will be really out in the open a lot more. We're very hidden. We're like behind the recreation Brad's, after daycare school. We're behind the tennis courts, behind the park. We're really, really hidden. So this would be out in the open. We'd have a lot more people coming in to get master gardener classes and we always give information about their plants and how they can help. So I'm asking the commission to put this move on your work plan so that we can please move forward with the resources needed to put us in a much better space for the gardeners and the community surrounding the garden. I have a question. I know you can't answer it, but maybe someday I can hear this answer. How can we know when you've allocated this project to your work plan? Thank you so much.
Thank you. I can answer the question. I'm going to answer your question. We actually have the work plan on our agenda for later in this meeting. It's item 6.2. And don't know if the park, I believe the garden was on the work plan.
An item related to pets.
Yes, so on the current work plan, which we need to discuss and approve still, is that the commission investigate relocation of the community garden. It is on the draft work plan, and today we will discuss finalizing our work plan. Okay. It's up to you.
Stay.
But we've heard your comment. It doesn't mean you've commented on the work plan, but we have heard your feedback, so it's up to you.
Frankly, I don't think it's going to make, I think it's probably, yeah. I mean, it's hard to say, but
I think that we've heard your comment. We will keep it in mind as we are looking at other items that are relevant to the comment that you have made as we make future decisions. Okay. If I said anything out of line, let me know. Otherwise, we can move on to item 4, announcements and the director's report.
Thank you. The director's report is to welcome our new commissioner, Sue Miller. She is our school board appointee, and we'd like to welcome her tonight. She's a longtime resident, and we're excited. Thank you. We have 7. A lot of
Yay.
people.
Can I just say, I'm thrilled to be on this commission, and my name is misspelled here.
I initiate people and make sure. Yeah. I did it to Dave, too.
oh, S, yes.
My second report is, if you remember back to our last meeting when we had the tree removal application for 1001 Clay Street, the report back from John is he was able to work with the owner on that, with her tree, and what they're going to do is keep the tree. They're going to be able to snake a new line from her cutout to the main sewer line, so they're going to be able to save that tree, and I wanted to make sure you guys knew that.
Good news. And welcome, Sue. Okay, that's quick. We're on item 5 and by 7:10. First item is 5.1, our only public hearing / presentation, Ocean View Field conversion to artificial turf, a proposal presented by Albany Little League. Who would that be?
I don't see anyone here for
Okay,
that item.
then I guess we skip over that.
But you
Do we
could
need to do anything on that?
You could offer to rearrange if they're just late, if they show up if you'd like.
Do you know, we can put a pin on it for now and see if someone comes? Okay. Okay. So they're going to come on the next, they would like to come on the next agenda. We can keep that in mind when we discuss the schedule later. So moving on to 6, item 6.1, gender neutral bathroom law. Consider sign options for single-user restrooms as required by Assembly Bill 1732. And this is a potential action that the commission should review and recommend a sign, icon, and text to be used on single-user restrooms located on city-owned properties.
Okay, this item was included in your packet. It was basically the PowerPoint that you'll see tonight. And we're talking about, I included the law in the packet of information about the single-user restrooms. Basically, those are the restrooms that only accommodate one person. They're lockable, and the city does have a number of them, specifically in parks. So the Ocean View childcare, actually inside the building, are 4 single-user restrooms. And as you can see from the rest of the list, this is a picture of Terrace Park restrooms of what they look like currently. And so this law went into effect March 1st. Tonight we'll be looking at a few options for signage. And I included this just so you could see where the 2 different signs go. One can have text with Braille on it, and the other one can be more of the icon on the door. You've had a chance to read that. Now, the idea here is that we're trying to hopefully reinforce what toilets are for, and that's to use them to go to the bathroom, and hopefully stay out of the area of reinforcing this gender binary. Some of them are difficult to read. There's a lot of options out there with this new law, and there are some very creative signs as well. But I'm hoping tonight that we will discuss the signs, or if there's other options that you guys have come up with and would like to suggest tonight, but the approach of using symbols that indicate what the bathroom is for and that they are inclusive, basically. The ones on the circle, now, already there is a law that, or the identification for a unisex bathroom is the circle and the triangle in the center. So you may see those in places now, which does indicate a unisex bathroom. So the signage on the door will have to have this triangle and then the icon in the center of what you guys choose. And so this is just up for discussion for you guys, your thoughts, input, and we will be making a recommendation based on your decision tonight to the council to adopt.
So first, we have clarifying questions.
Is this just for this one restroom, or is this for all city single?
All city, single, yes. This is the list that I came up with. There may be others, but as restrooms go in that are single users, they will get the appropriate signage. So you can see there's a couple new ones that we don't have yet. So I looked up the Pierce Street Park drawings, and there's 2 in that, and the new Public Works Center has 2 that will be in that building as well.
So are we, could you go back to the slide where it says good focuses on toilet? Are we looking at those, or do you have a specific recommendation, or are we kind of talking about those right now?
Yeah, we're talking about these. This is what I came up with. If you had other suggestions that you've seen, this focuses it on what bathrooms are for. Unless there is a desire to go towards one of the other ones, that could be an option too.
And are we talking about 2 signs at each bathroom?
Yes, one sign will be the, from this example, the one on the left having the text on it, the square one, and then the one that is on the door is the one that is the icon. So yes, it would be one of each.
What I didn't see, I don't know if it's possible, is that to the, on the door, the top right, is there, could there be text that says all gender restroom also on that?
On which one? Just the toilet
The top
one?
right, because I mean, just to, yeah, so it's the top right toilet. If there was, is there an option or possibility to do an all gender restroom underneath as text?
Maybe I can, yeah, we can check on it.
I think that there is. I've done a little bit of research on this, and you can get almost any sign you want, except for the one that I want, which I will share later, but
Can't always get one.
I can share it now.
Yeah.
I personally would rather just say, have the picture of the toilet and then the word restroom without all gender on it. But we can talk about that after we have public comment.
Yes.
Any more clarifying questions before we take public comment, if there is any?
Are all these restrooms wheelchair accessible?
Yes.
Are there any requirements for, like ADA requirements about the picture of the wheelchair?
I'd have to check on that. I don't know if there is. Yeah.
I think you only have the picture of the wheelchair if it's a wheelchair accessible
Yeah.
bathroom. Oh, but you're saying like if there is, if that bathroom is wheelchair accessible, do you need to have the wheelchair on it?
Mm-hmm.
We can check on that.
Yeah.
Or you can check on that.
Thank you.
Is there anyone interested in speaking on this item? Okay. Discussion? I'll share my thoughts first, since I clearly have some. This is a topic that I'm particularly interested in, and I do think it is best to focus on the toilet. I feel like when you have the stick figures, do you mind putting that one up? Particularly the half man, half woman, it's like, it really is not that inclusive. If someone is transgender or gender neutral, to see an image like that seems kind of like you're mocking them. And the other reason why I prefer something that just says restroom is because I feel like all gender is really emphasizing gender, even though it is all gender and it's inclusive. I feel like we should just focus on the toilet. However, in my little research that I did on this, I could not find a gender neutral sign that had a picture of a toilet and the word restroom without the word all gender on it. So I don't know if it's available, but it would be my preference if there was one.
We can have signs made. So.
So this week I met with, through work, I met with the members of the visually impaired and blind community for a project I'm working on. And so I'm now thinking about how to meet the needs of that community. And although I like the idea of just the toilet picture and restroom, I'm thinking about somebody who comes up to the bathroom and they can't see, and it says restroom, and they can't see the picture of the toilet. You know, all that they have is that braille that says restroom, and somebody may wonder, am I missing another sign that says all gender? So I think that it might be important to say all gender for someone who's visually impaired or blind that comes up to that sign and touches it and has a question about, is this bathroom really for me?
But couldn't you have all gender restroom in Braille, though? Not necessarily. I don't know if you'd not want to be consistent. I mean, I'm just wondering if that's, I'm not saying that that's what I necessarily support, but would that, I don't know if there's requirements about definitely, you know, having it be a translation specifically, because I understand your point.
Yeah, I agree as well. And I do think that you can have different Braille because you're speaking to a different person's needs, but also looking at the Braille underneath restroom and all gender restroom, they appear to be the same.
I'm sure it's just the artwork.
Sorry?
So that's probably just the artwork,
Okay.
my guess. But,
Okay.
but that's an excellent observation.
Okay.
I'd say.
I'm not clear on why someone who's blind would need to know that it was all gender, and somebody who was sighted wouldn't be confused.
So, because if you're sighted, you can see all the signage, and so you're clear that there's nowhere that it says male or female or women or men. Whereas if you're blind and you are just touching that one sign, you have no idea if on the other, you know, above the door, maybe it says male or female, or, you know, the sign where on the, so that's on the wall next to the door. On the door, maybe there's a picture of a male, you know, the male picture, the female picture. A blind person wouldn't know that, or a visually impaired person wouldn't know that, whereas a sighted person would be able to take in both signs on the door and next to the door.
That makes
Does
a
that
lot
make
of
sense?
sense.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sorry.
So-
But also my preference for not saying all gender isn't that strong.
So my understanding is that this is an attempt to introduce some sort of standardization for that. So the dictates on the sign on the door were a lot clearer. It's got to have a circle that represents female, triangle represents male, and if it's both, they're one on top of each other, and they are a 1/4 inch high, so you can feel it. So you're absolutely right, I think, for now, but I think in a year or two, it will be standard enough that people wouldn't have that confusion. They could feel the sign on the door and say, oh, this is all gender. I resist the all gender because I don't think it's going to age well. I think it's a topic right now, and I think in 5 years, it's going to look dated. I think restroom says it. And I also like the idea of having it say all gender restroom in Braille and then restroom there. My experience with ADA, you can have more information, but not less for different users. So anyway, I understand what you're saying, but I think the goal is that not to be an issue, but that is a
Right.
goal. That is a
Right.
transition.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of having the Braille that has more information than, you know, I'm happy with restroom, I'm happy with a picture. I just don't know if somebody who's not sighted would know to feel the circle on the door and, you know, to feel the sign. Like, I mean, you just have to put yourself in their
absolutely.
shoes. And
Absolutely.
I think it's a different, you know, you're working with less information.
Shelley, I have a question. I don't know if you have been talking with other parks or other people about standardization, because I think that's a good point, right? Do you know what others are doing in response to this law?
I don't. I think you have some leeway in how you want your signs to look. Because if they just recommended one sign, then we probably wouldn't be having this discussion tonight. So I think it can be for the community of what you think it works best.
Or I wonder if, like, I mean, I know this is a research question, but if Berkeley and El Cerrito are doing something that we could be consistent, at least as a region, I'm assuming they also have to change signs, right?
Yes,
Because everybody's doing this at the same time. Okay.
It should be.
I'm looking at my phone because someone texted me a picture of the picture that's used in the schools, and the schools have the toilet, the wheelchair, and all gender restroom.
The bottom.
So it's the bottom left. Yeah.
Yeah, bottom left. And then I also have what Bart is using, if you would. We do research on the fly here.
Well, she's doing that. I just also, for my part, I would go with the icons on the left, the blank triangle, or if it's wheelchair accessible, the icon with the wheelchair. And then I would just have the sign restroom, and then in Braille, all gender restroom underneath. But that's just mine.
So you
that
like
out there.
the bottom left of the circles?
Right.
The one-
Since all the restrooms are wheelchair accessible, yes, yes. What I don't like would be having the toilet on some and then the handicapped person on
Yeah.
the wheelchair on others. That wouldn't have the right message. So either blank or wheelchair accessible.
Yeah. My only concern is that people might feel like this is the bathroom for people that have wheelchairs. Which one do I use? But I think I'm overthinking.
I personally like having the toilet there, just to be real clear. I'm only thinking of possibly people might think it's a changing room or something. I don't know. I mean, but yeah.
Well, and also if you're not a native speaker, I guess we're going to have restroom next to it, and that would have the picture of the toilet on the wall sign. But I do think the toilet helps.
Toilets look different in different places. Right?
I didn't know the triangle was a unisex
they're not representative.
symbol.
So it's,
I didn't know
it's a
that.
symbol. It's an icon.
So if it was just
becomes a
blank,
standard.
I think I would be lost too.
It says here that if it's until now, the circle is the women's room and the triangle is the men's room. And so that's why it's a circle and a triangle to be unisex.
And I think, a vision impaired person is going to feel that and been relieved to find something. Oh, I understand this. This is the standard. Thank you for doing this. When it's known. But I'm all for standard signage. It makes a lot of sense for iconography.
So would it make sense for one of the signs to have both the toilet and the wheelchair so that people knew it was wheelchair accessible and also that it is a bathroom, but not necessarily both? And I personally really like leaving all gender off, so, except for the Braille.
Except for the Braille, okay.
So we could have something like the square sign on the bottom left without all gender that has both the toilet and the wheelchair, and then just the circle and the triangle on the door. Just to try to keep it simple, but
Yeah.
I mean, I really think both the toilet and the wheelchair need to be on there.
I'm going to try a motion and see if it carries, but we can always go back. That we do the bottom corner sign, so the bottom left and the bottom right, both of them without all gender on it. The door sign would have restroom, but then all gender and Braille. And then on the right, there would be no words at all. Or we can discuss more.
For me, the toilet icon is a little cutesy. It's a little, I don't know. It doesn't, and it's true that doesn't look like any toilet in my house.
I'm not a fan of having a toilet picture.
Okay.
But I think it makes it clear that it's not just a handicap bathroom, it's open to everyone. So that's what I'm trying to get at.
There's just to be clear, there's two different signs we're talking about, so maybe we should talk about, I mean, I know we need to talk about them together, but when you both say you don't like the toilet, does that mean you wouldn't like the bottom left, or are you okay with the bottom left, but not for the door?
I think we need to have a toilet. I just am not a big fan of it.
So do we all agree on the bottom left sign without the word all gender, but all gender in Braille?
I don't.
No, okay.
I
Oh, because you don't want the toilet at all.
We have the word restroom.
I agree, yeah.
And
okay.
people use,
Yeah.
you go in to wash your hands, there's all kinds of things you do that don't involve the toilet and
Yeah.
restroom, right?
I would put as long as we're all saying what
Yeah.
we prefer. On the wall, I would put the word restroom and have the Braille that says all gender restroom on the door. I mean, the only one I I guess I don't like the two on the left. Like, I don't think that the blank triangle tells you enough. I think that just having a wheelchair makes you think that maybe it's only for wheelchair, but I would take either of the other two. The two on the right. Without the word.
I have to say, I feel strongly about the toilet. And this is the reason, is in the past, we've used the human figure as a symbol. And so now we're taking that human symbol, which everybody recognizes to be a restroom human symbol, and we're replacing it with just the handicap symbol and no other symbol. And to me, I'm just really trying to put myself out there as somebody who isn't used to seeing American bathroom signs, or, like we say, and I would be a little confused. I feel like I wouldn't know if you don't read restroom, if you can't read restroom.
If you're not a native speaker.
Yeah, if you're non-native speaker, you can't read restroom. How do you know? How do you know it's the bathroom?
Because the standard signage is what we're doing here, a large circle for a women's room, a triangle for a men's room.
No, but we're no longer have the
human
we're
figure.
taking out the human
I
sign.
know, but that's, the icon means restroom. That's what it means.
But they're right next to each other, aren't they? Like, I mean, I guess I was thinking, like, you don't need the duplication of the images on both, because, like, you walk up to that bathroom and you see the words on the left and you see the picture on the right.
No, but they were talking about not having either one, right? Is that was part of it, right? Not having either of those signs have the toilet. If we have the toilet in one of the two, I'm totally comfortable with that. But if we take them out of both, I think that's a concern.
Oh, I would put the toilet, I said I would take either the circles on the right, so both of them have the toilet.
Okay, yeah, that's fine with me. I just think it needs to be in one of them.
I mean, I'm just one vote, people. You can pass it. You
Okay,
don't need me.
so restroom on the left, all gender restroom in Braille, no signage, no symbology.
Top left.
Top left.
Yeah.
Right side, bottom right picture, no words.
Yes.
Does that work, Shelley?
I'd second that motion.
Shall we take a vote on that? All those in favor? Do we need any further discussion?
No.
Okay, all those in favor? Those opposed?
I'm just saying no for the drama.
Okay. Motion carries with 2 no votes.
We rarely have no votes. So that's good.
That was a first, not a first. A first to have 2, I think, while I've been in here. All right, and now we move on to item 6.2, work plan. Commission reviews work, oh, I'm looking at the minutes. Sorry, wrong. Item 6.2, council strategic plan and work plan. We review the city council strategic plan and finalize the Park and Recreation Commission's work plan for 2017 to 2019. Recommended action that we approve a work plan.
So you got the final strategic plan emailed to you to see where we fall in there. I took the draft staff report that will go to council, the template basically we're using for it, and inputted from the last meeting the items that were discussed, also put it in the council priorities. It's been told to staff liaisons to let our commissions know that their items are priorities. And so I tried to list them in that way. And I also was trying to break them up for the different years. It can be confusing because the strategic plan refers to things in fiscal years, and then you guys serve a regular year. And so I'll try to make that consistent, but I think they're using fiscal years for finance. So, for example, the fiscal year we're in right now is 16-17, and it ends June 30th. So when you see a fiscal year 17, that's what we're in right now.
Okay.
Our fiscal year begins July 1st. But that is always very, very confusing. Some of the other ones I wrote CIP, if it was in the CIP for commission. And and I added one that we did not discuss, but it was the street tree removal policy. And in that policy, we state that we will review that every 2 years, and we're at that point. It will also be a very interesting discussion that is combined with the sidewalk, talk of repairing a lot of our sidewalks and a new sidewalk plan. So we'll want our policy to be in sync with that as well. And as I said, for this year, you want to think that we have 8 more meetings, and there's a lot to take on in that period of time. So just keep that in mind. And you can create, we're going to decide we can do like a waiting list type thing, because some of the things will get finished up this year, hopefully, and then you may have room to take them on later. So that is not off the table. I did have a couple notes where I said I wasn't recommended at this time for a couple items. One was brought up at council with a strategic plan discussion of putting Pierce Street Park Phase 2. It was brought up by the council, they talked about it, and the mayor said, we don't have staff capacity or a budget for that, and they decided not to add it to their strategic plan. So I put it here because it doesn't make sense for us to do that. I also put the Ocean View Field on there. This is totally up for your discussion, but a staff recommendation is not to take that up at this moment. We have a number of huge priorities, and that item hasn't shown up on a master plan or in a priority for some time, but it could be an item you could put into the parking lot or the waiting list if you want to take it up maybe later next year or the end of this year. The CIP, as you've seen, is a very big document. So all those major projects take staff time. We are extremely over staff capacity in the amount of items that we have. And so that's where that is coming from.
Can I just quickly ask, I was a little unclear on the labels, council and commission. I mean, I could understand it as the council is responsible for this and the commission's advising them, but I see that working.
No, I just wrote it, meaning that it was in the council's strategic plan.
Okay, so if it's in the council strategic
Right,
plan.
yeah. Thank you for asking.
It's a line item in the strategic plan.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And then commission was just items that we brought up for you guys or
Okay.
currently you're working on. Sometimes they overlapped.
Sure, sure.
I had one question for moving into that part. On the top of the second page, the prioritize Albany Hill projects, is spring 2016 correct? Is that like a different way of talking about fiscal years, or is that just a typo?
No, it is correct. This is something we're going to address quickly. We need to get in a cost kind of guesstimate at this point for the projects for Albany Hill, what we think they're going to cost, and then that needs to go to council so that they can approve the funding for those projects. We don't have a full estimate of what the whole trail was going to cost to do or the access points. It's not a matter of do we have the money, it's a matter of a process for them. And so we have some architectural design company, it happens to be RDG, on call, and they are going to do cost estimates working with the city public works department and myself. We're going to walk through and they'll get the master plan. But that will come to you so you see it, and it's on their strategic plan. They want to have that in the spring.
Okay. But do you mean spring of 2017?
No, in the next 2 months.
But isn't it
fiscal year 2016?
It's now. Yes, sorry, it's actually like, right. Oh, you're right. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, no, I wasn't sure if,
No, you're
That was-
correct. The
okay.
17,
Are
yes.
you aware what year it is?
No, I'm not. Thank you, yes. Typo.
okay. I have a question about another one, 2 more down, increasing the outdoor seating areas, that it looks like it came from council? What is that?
It's on there, and we're in the works. It's great they're identifying that being the parklet, getting that
Okay.
project completed, and also counting the plaza area with the Albany Greenway of having that go online. But it does open up, is this an opportunity to look at other areas that may be to increase seating along Solano?
Okay, so this
And
is
they're-
specifically on Solano at Albany Greenway, not along the whole Albany Greenway then?
No, they're using the plaza where things meet Solano is their focus.
I have a question about 2 of the items in 2018, 2019. So for items 2 and 3, reviewing existing memorials and features, and then creating policies concerning memorials. Is there any reason why those two aren't put together as one bullet item? Or one?
It's the way it's written in the council strategic plan, I believe. The idea is they want to know what's out there and evaluate them. Then they want us to create policies about doing those type of things,
Right.
and I don't think we have one.
Okay, but we wouldn't be able to do the second one without doing the first one.
Yes.
Are any of these items mainly going to be taken up by the council? And I'm just wondering how this works. Are we always going to be talking about these items first and then they go to council, or some just going to be spoken at the council?
No, they've decided that for the items that are on here, that we are the body they want to have us talk about and be the forum, and then make a recommendation to them. So most of those are going to them. We're doing the work.
Two more in 2018-19. The second and third from the bottom on that bracket, the Shrine Pocket Park and try to design and construct key route. My question is just that they're both labeled fiscal year 2017-18, but they're not on the calendar till 18-19.
That's the calendar versus fiscal year. They are in the CIP for those fiscal years, meaning the next one. So that would be June, July 1 through June 2018.
So
So what's the-
So
So it
hang on,
actually-
so hang on,
2018,
So it actually falls into 18.
But not, oh, okay.
hang on, so
These are calendar.
just going back to here, so
Yeah.
2017 to 2018 is really
Yeah.
just 2017,
Right, it's the,
okay. Right?
2017, 20 is fiscal year 2018 is what they will sometimes refer to it as, but that is the period between July 1st,
No, I-
2017 through June 30th, 2018.
So these are our fiscal year, so the policy review initiatives, underneath that it says 2017 to 2018, is that fiscal year 2017-18?
That's why I was saying there's a calendar dates, because you guys serve your terms are calendar January to whatever, but some of these items go in fiscal years. And so I can change the labeling if it makes
So
you.
let me ask just one question real quick. So Shrine Pocket Park, fiscal year 2017, 2018, sounds to me like we could start talking about that in July this year. That's fiscal year 2017, 17. So how is
Yes.
that different from
Yes.
Measure WWA funded summer 2017?
Not much, except we started it in a different fiscal year, and we'll finish it up in another fiscal year. These are not hard and fast, so if the labeling of these is better, or they're out of order, we can move them. Yeah.
Maybe we don't even need to actually assign specific years, just because that's kind of beside the point at this point.
And things might carry over. We're not
Yeah,
gonna.
it's just ordering yeah.
Okay.
I tried to make it fit the template headings, and I guess I kind of struck out on that one. We could try.
No, well, I think it's just confusing to say 2018-2019
Yeah.
when it really just means calendar year 2018, right? Or I don't understand why that's,
It's a 2-year strategic plan, 17 to 18, 18 to 19.
okay, never mind.
But you know what? You could let's just make the label, it's the 2-year plan, and we can just list everything underneath
Okay.
it and not
Okay.
separate it by
Moving
dates.
on.
Okay.
Can you remind us what AB 2404 is in the ongoing?
It's the fair play.
Why is it ongoing?
No, can you remind me what it is? I forget
Fair
what
play.
AB 24,
It's the Fair
that's
Play
fair
Act.
play.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
Fair Play Act, yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions before we take public comment? Is there anyone here to speak on this item? Sorry, yes, on the work plan? Does anyone wish to speak on the work plan for up to 3 minutes? If you'd like to approach the microphone and state your name, please.
Hi, Jackie Herman Fletcher, member of Ocean View Community Organic Garden. I really don't see it on here. Could you please point it out to me where the garden is? I looked at every single.
The last bullet of the 2017-2018.
What page?
Oh, it's
please?
not, it's not this. This is the city council strategic plan. We're working on our own strategic plan.
Oh, do I have a copy of that back?
Do you have tonight's agenda?
It's in the back.
Yeah, it's on the, yeah.
I think now would be a good time to talk about that and how, at the last meeting, the suggested wording and where you were going so that we can clear that up with her in terms of, I don't want it to be misleading for Jackie to think that it is strictly a switch. At the last meeting, the discussion was separating dog,
Oh, yes,
section
yes,
B,
yes.
and community gardens, and not having them be dependent on
Yes.
each other. So if you want to have that discussion.
Yes, so I think last fall, we had a discussion where we were talking about potentially switching Section B as a dog park and Ocean View Community Gardens. We heard a lot of feedback about that, and we felt like they were actually two large issues that were separate and should be considered separately. And so based on the feedback of the whole commission last time, they are listed here as two separate issues. So you'll see, if you look at 2017 on the back page of the whole agenda, the fourth bullet from the end of the 2017 grouping is review dogs in Albany parks, including Section B. And then the last bullet is investigate relocation of the community garden. They're both open issues, and we're separating them so that we can find the best solution for each of them. Maybe it will be a switch, maybe it won't, but we want to look at them individually. But they're both on the work plan until we draft work plan, considering that we need to approve tonight.
Good.
Any other public comment?
Jim Russell, commenting on the work plan. So I was happy to see that in the 2018-2019 timeframe, the last item was investigate possible locations for mountain biking park, which is a topic I've talked about to the group here previously. But I was a little puzzled in that it was not recommended that the commission consider Pierce Street Park Phase 2. So I wasn't sure, since the only location we'd really proposed for a mountain biking park to date had been that location, does not pursuing Phase 2 for that park eliminate that as a possible location for the mountain biking park? And in that case, then, you know, Albany doesn't have a lot of undeveloped locations, that it potentially kills it before it even gets started. So that was my concern about that. And unless there's a way of considering some portions of Pierce Street Park outside of Phase 2, but that seems a little, I don't quite understand how that would work. So that was my question.
Thank you.
Shelley, do you have?
Do you have an answer?
Well, the Pierce Street Park Phase 2 question is what I was saying at the council meeting when they approved their strategic plan. At the end, they were talking about, did we get everything we wanted? And the question came up, should we have Pierce Street Park Phase 2 in our strategic plan? And there was a small discussion, but the mayor said, we don't have staff capacity or funding for that. And the council decided not to include it in their strategic plan. So that's why that recommendation was there. But I think the feeling from the commission was that you were interested in possibly finding if there was another location to do a mountain bike park, even if it wasn't in Pierce Street Park. And then I am also hoping and feeling encouraged from the strategic plan from council. They ask, there's a couple items in here that could be possibilities for this, and I think we talked about it before, is the investigate potential for open space use of Caltrain's right-of-way. And those are what are the right-of-ways, and discuss opportunities with Caltrans. Those are those under the freeway spots or properties that are Caltrans and not the city's properties that might be good fits for a mountain biking location. That would be my hope.
That's about the only other option I can think of, other than some parts potentially out towards the bulb, but I'm not sure how much of that is not Albany anymore, and East Bay Park. So,
From my perspective, I would see that discussion of possible locations for mountain biking park might result in a recommendation for Phase 2 of Pier Street Park. It's not, I don't think Pier Street Park Phase 2 exists per se. I mean, there's some
It's only that-
gestures,
yeah, the
some
bike
gestures,
path.
but nothing. So
Yeah. Just the bike path, not park.
I think as kind of ordering, I think this makes sense. And also, we were considering, for part of the mountain biking area, the area outside of Pier Street Park. Pier Street Park doesn't include that triangular section, which may or may not be big enough, I don't know, but.
well, I heard that triangle location was not an option.
It's not an option. Yeah, I don't know.
It's Caltrans property.
Okay.
So,
Well,
Property.
okay.
yeah.
It is right next to the freeway, so I was.
And it's right-
I'm
yeah.
not sure that would work.
It's cars coming off that
Yeah.
freeway.
Yeah. So I wasn't sure how these two bullets were compatible, as I guess is what I was getting at. So if it's possible to consider a location, Pier Street Park general area for a mountain biking park without considering Phase 2 for that area. I mean, maybe Phase 2, is it possible that Phase 2 could just be the mountain bike park, and then Phase 3 could be other stuff?
There isn't funding for Phase 2. That's the current status of it. And then I would think that if there were funding for Phase 2, there would be a lot of discussion about what would be in that park. There's not only would you want a mountain bike park, people might want a play field in the middle of that field. They might want open space or community gardens. And so if we were to get to that point, that would be the discussion.
And
I think, based on this, I think it's encouraging that the commission felt, I'm sorry to speak for you, but that you really liked the mountain biking thing, and
Yeah.
if we could find a location for it, that it was a good thing, even if it
Right.
wasn't inside Pier Street Park. So
Okay.
I don't know if you find that encouraging or not, but.
Well, and I think that, and having only heard that we weren't pursuing a Pier Street Park on this agenda, when we investigate possible locations, I do think we would consider Pier Street Park as one of them, but we'd also look into other options just because
might be something
we
better.
don't know what there is.
Yeah, good point.
Okay, so if we came to the conclusion that Pier Street Park was the only viable location, then the next step would be, well, we either pursue Phase 2 or the item's dead. Does
Potentially.
that sound about right?
I think the main point was that we didn't want to think about the mountain biking park as exclusively being linked to the Phase 2 of Pier Street Park, because then it would be dead, right? But in this, if we're looking at all the different areas of the city, then it's not like, then we could potentially do something earlier. So, but we just don't want to say that it's going to be there, and if it's not there, then none.
All right, thank you.
Well said.
I don't think she. well,
Would
she
you
just
like,
asked-
would you like to have your public comment now that we've clarified what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
If I could please have clarification, Jackie Hermes Fleischer again. It says investigate relocation of the community garden. So that doesn't mean start anything, help us get going, correct? I just want to know what to tell my gardeners, because we're all thinking we're going to move to that one space now. So what am I going to say to them? What do you mean investigate? I mean, is it going to be added years later? I don't understand.
The way that it's on the agenda, we are only investigating it, so there's been no decisions made, and there would be the way that it's written, we would have to look into what the options are and discuss them with the public. So there is no decision made. You can tell your gardeners that there would be a process and that they can give feedback on it, but there's no, you're moving to Section B, next week happening. It's going to, if there is a change, we need to figure out if there is a good place, and that's what this work plan would include.
We were thinking of next season. That's what they think. Because we were told we would be switching.
Well, that was a mistake. You shouldn't have.
So we
Yeah, I don't-
didn't know at that
I think
time.
that was-
Nobody knew really. So now it's go back to them and say maybe we should come back for more to tell you more of our ideas later when it's appropriate?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
We definitely encourage that. And I think what you can take from this is that we have heard and understand that where the garden is now is not adequate. And so we're going to try to help you find a better location, I think is.
And we're suggesting that Area B would be a great location. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Was that okay?
Yes, and I assume we have her contact information so we can reach out when we do. put
Yes,
it on the
yes.
agenda.
Oh, she's always around.
Yeah. Yes. We didn't promise the switch to them, but we did make that proposal and had the meeting about it, so, and gardeners have gotten excited.
Yes.
Rightfully so, right? Thanks.
Okay, discussion.
I actually wanted to see if we could make the support of AB 2404 something more scheduled, like 2 presentations a year or something, just kind of a status update. I don't want to be a burden on you. It shouldn't take you more than 20 minutes to just write up what.
Oh, no. Yeah,
just
that's the
kind of a
intent.
status.
As we get, because we'll constantly be updating numbers and such, and
Sure.
that's no
sure.
problem.
So maybe make that a little more solid. That's
Sure.
all I would suggest.
Can we make that decision based on seasons? Post,
See if does that make sense? I guess it makes sense, yeah.
okay.
Does anyone see anything that they think is missing or that we should remove?
I wonder if we have too many bullets on our list for 2017, 2018. Just looking to see what we accomplished in the last year. I think we have eight bullets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bullets. And then, so we have not only all the bullets for 17, 18, but then we have the ongoing, which are 3. So I wonder if we need to, I wonder if there's anything that could be moved to 18, 19. Have we bitten off more than we can swallow?
I do know that at least one of the bullets was moved over from current to next. The park signage was something we were supposed to do the past work plan.
And we've already checked off the single-stall gender-neutral bathroom signage.
Hey.
Da-da-da. Yeah, whatever.
Mr. No Vote.
I mean, I think that the dog, the review dogs in Albany parks, including Section B, is big. And will take a number of meetings. And we will get, based on past meetings, we'll get a lot of people for that. And then, so I don't know, that seems like a big one.
And Albany Hill will basically become the Albany Greenway, which was probably 6 meetings or so.
But looking at the bullet list, so the first one, constructing Phase 1 park, like what do we need to do for that? Is that just we get report backs or do we have an active role?
Which one?
The first one under 2017, constructing Phase 1 Peggy Thompson Pierce Park.
You're going to get reports back on that. That construction, I think, starts April 1st. And then there's, which I believe we've already done, a memorial bench in there and like a park opening, but there'll be a small item probably on an agenda.
Just
But like,
status update.
but their status updates, it wouldn't be as significant discussion, so that one.
It is smaller.
And then the next one, the 2 Albany Hill ones, seem like they might be related.
Yes. I just put them together because it's already in there.
Right.
But the prioritizing of the projects, like, that can take some time, if it's similar to what we did years ago.
We're going to follow the master plan, and then from the community workshop on Albany Hill, it's pretty much, we're doing all the projects. We have that $1.6 million we have to spend by September 2019, which is a great situation to be in. And so you'll be looking at like, well, what do we want that trail to look like, and what extra amenities may we want, and how do we want that ramp to, what should those stairs look like? But it is probably 3 projects. The bridge, the discussion of the bridge is going to move to the creek's side. It may be funded out of the master plan Measure R, but the creek people are going to take on the bridge.
Oh, right.
So that'll be good. So the prioritizing the projects is really going to come up with, we're coming up with that cost estimate right away to get it into the CIP so that they'll allocate the money so we can spend it. Then we'll hire an architect, landscape architect, or trails people to do drawings and design and have community meetings. So it'll be pretty big. And there's a time constraint, so.
And, okay, so those two are time consuming. The next one, the plaza, it seems like, have we already more or less done that because we've done the Albany Greenway planning?
Pretty much getting that parklet started.
And same with the next one. Not the parklet,
Yes,
the Greenway construction, right?
yes. And those bids came in today, some of you I was talking with. And
Alright.
so hopefully we'll get that going in the next couple months.
Okay, so bathroom signage, we're done. Then there's a bunch of plans that we'll need to be reviewing.
Yes, the Memorial Park tot improvements, that is scheduled to start April 1st. That's moving the fence to expand the tot area and putting in the patio, which is not a Measure WW, but the patio for Friendship Club. Bathroom renovation, you guys have finished those plans, and those plans just need to go to Public Works and then put it out to bid.
In fact, all of these, haven't we already approved?
Yes, and so it's going to be a good checklist. I added them in there because it is things that are on your list for council. And then it was duplicated in the next year cycle about the Measure WW because there was two that were left over, I think, in a different fiscal year. It's Ocean View Park, actually.
So I think I'm comfortable with the number of bullets just because
Okay.
one of them we can check off. And some of them
Yeah.
are just monitoring.
No,
it
but
seems like.
there are three big ones, you're right.
There are significant ones.
We have Albany Hill,
Yeah.
which is going to be time consuming, and the dog / section B, and then the community garden discussion. So that is a lot, but I think also we were suggesting, were we suggesting making it into a 2-year plan rather than broken down by year?
We can do that, yeah.
So,
I can just take that out and just,
Break the template.
yeah. Yeah.
so with that being said, does anyone have any other concerns that we should discuss before we make any, or do we have to change anything?
Can you just say a little bit about what it means to investigate funding options for retrofitting the Veterans Building,
Yes.
other than what we've been doing all along?
We continually, like every,
Just keep your
2
ears
years, keep the cost estimate fresh. It's investigate what are the options for, is it a bond measure? Is it some other form? How could we pay for this and actually buy the building and renovate it?
Does it cost us money to keep the numbers fresh? Do we have to pay somebody to provide?
We do. It's not that much.
Not a lot.
I'd have to look, but I think it's $2,500 or $3,000. It's the same company that has done it
Sure.
for the past 15 years, probably, of updating the numbers. They've never gone down, unfortunately.
Go figure.
Oh, let's see.
Memorials. Actually, it seems like most of these are somewhat smaller in 2018,
I want to say that
except for Ocean View.
maybe you want to keep in mind, are there items that we're going to create subcommittees for? Example being, the last time we did the street tree policy, we created a subcommittee so you could work on it and come back to the commission. And that would help in the process so that you're not wordsmithing through a policy at a meeting. You can review it and vote on it.
Do we need to decide that now, though?
No, but just to keep in mind for. I have one other, emergency item that may come up, might come up this month. We may need to have a special meeting. Is there the fencing at Memorial Park, the ball field? The school district uses that field for high school baseball. And there's been a number of, nicely struck balls that have gone over the right field, either foul line or a home run balls hit, because that fence is really low along that. So it's really the fence between Section B and the ball field. And so the school district is going to need to increase the size of that fencing, and it will need to come through Parks and Rec in order to give the neighbors a chance to talk about it, because it's a 30-foot adjustment that they'll have to look at. and to approve the process. We had a meeting today with the superintendent to discuss some options, and so we might get the call to have a special meeting. They want to try to get it done because the baseball season has started, and it's a definite liability concern and issue for both parties, the school district and the city.
Okay.
So that may be coming.
And you said that was the fence between the baseball park and Section B that needs to be taller?
Yes.
And not the fence on Thousand Oaks?
The fence, the home run, like the outfield fence, you mean? That one is 28 feet. They would increase that to the 30-foot height as well. So 2 more feet. The outfield fence, which is Thousand Oaks, it's not the fencing right on Carmel along the sidewalk. It's the fence that separates Section B from ball field. But it is a dramatic change. The idea would not be to put up a giant 30-foot chain link fence, but a netting to be used. And so it would allow us to be able to show the community and notice them and let them see what that would look like. Because that's a change if you look out your window and you see that instead of chain link fence that you see now, but taller.
I was going to ask Gino if you thought that moving, not recommended by staff considering the Ocean View Field artificial turf project, do you think that's going to come up, or what's Little League think about that? They want to talk about it now.
They want to put it on the agenda.
But we just don't have
Supposedly there's a
capacity.
way they can fund it.
They may have funding.
Yeah, they may have. They would like to move on it because it's going to take a few years.
And even if there was funding from Little League, it would still require staff resources, I would assume.
Yeah, and the cost on that was 1.3, I think. There's also going to be the whole community discussion, because it's not just putting in grass, it's a discussion about artificial turf. And that was also, the cost only included, from my memory, there should be a discussion about that just being a baseball field painted, not a soccer field or other fields that were on there. So if you added lining that, it adds cost to it as well. It is a multi-use field because of the lights, so. And that's a difficult situation because you can't put a standard field in the outfield and paint it. So we'd have to get research on how you do that. Do you do temporary painting of artificial turf, or so that everybody can use it if it's 8 and under soccer or 5-a-side soccer or whatever group, so.
So concern is that even if Little League was able to bring the funding to the table, they would require a lot of time in this body and your time, staff, and additional staff time.
It becomes a capital project, which involves, there has to be design for it, there has to be public works time that goes into that. I mean, you're ripping out basically the entire field and replacing it, so.
But that's not to say Little League can't come and talk about it here. It's just not.
No, we've offered it. They were supposed to come the past 2 meetings, and so I'm shocked they weren't here.
They showed up, but they didn't.
Oh, that was, oh,
They came and left. Late.
okay.
Right.
Oh, this part? Oh, okay. Not the presentation. That wasn't. But none of those guys were, okay. Okay.
Okay, so trying to move on this, or like reach a closure, it seems like, with the exception of typos, I haven't heard any recommended changes to the work plan, except for structuring it so that it's a 2-year plan and not broken up by years.
I did suggest we make the Fair Play Act stuff a little more
Sorry,
regular, but
My
other than that.
my
apologies.
I didn't.
And did you say it was twice a year?
I think 6 months.
Okay.
Does that make a touch or status, touch base?
I guess I have a question, being a newbie here. I kind of like that it's split into 2 groups, because it sort of looks to me like it encourages us to try to get the first part done this year, but I don't have any idea what's realistic. But it would be very easy for it to all kind of float on down to the second year.
Well, and there's also dates next to most items, so.
We could try, I could try to give, like, instead of using fiscal years in the descriptions, try to give it just like a season with the year, or break out if it's going to be designed in one year and constructed in a different year, if that would help, and take out the confusion between.
I think the confusion comes from just the heading 2018, 2019, and then the first item, fiscal year 2018, 2019, second 2018, 2019. Then you get down to Shrine Pocket Park is 2017, 2018. Why is that and then Key Route 2000? I think that was the confusion. Let's just change those to 2018 and we're good.
Yeah, so what's confusing to me is the title 2018 to 2019, when, as far as I can understand, it would end on December 31st of 2018 and not include any of 2019.
Okay, now I'm confused
But
again.
This is why I'm confused, is because I think the dates are confusing. So
Yeah.
I don't feel strongly about having it be a 2-year plan or having it be separated. I would give staff leeway to structure it as makes sense after looking at it further.
I like that.
You have to read it to council, so how do you want me to?
When is that, by the way?
March 20th.
Okay.
Did we used to also reference
Oh, yeah.
the strategic plan in each of the
right.
bullets? Like, is that something that I think we need, I mean, it can be ordered that way, or it has been ordered that way in the past. I think it makes it easy to present. You know, when you say, this is what we're going to do, you have to cross-reference to where it fits into the strategic plan. So,
It's fairly easy, if you guys want to just do it really quickly. There are new goals in here, they're themes, so if it may draw on some of the ones that aren't as obvious. Maximize and improve park open space. Let me see if there's a listing of, that's easier to read.
A number of these simply are strategic items.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at this earlier. As far as I could tell, our first goal was under 3.2A. And then you can look pretty easily, there's advisory bodies, so just look through there. Oh, no, there's B, 3.1.
Okay, so the ones that say council, you don't need to tell me what it relates to, because
Right.
they've already
Right.
put it in there. But the ones that say commission, those are the ones we want to put a footnote of which ones they relate to.
And that say commission, but not, does commission CIP also?
Yes, yes.
And any of them that say commission?
So the first one I see is 3.2A and B.
For the gender neutral bathroom signage, I could say 2.2, which is to continue to promote community-wide inclusivity. For reviewing and designing the Measure WW construction, is that 3.1, create parks? Does it need to be a specific strategy or just a goal?
I think it just needs to be just like maximize
objective?
and improve parks and open space is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Albany Parks, dogs.
well, we've also talked about like engaging our diverse community. So by providing a dog park, you're meeting the needs of a diverse community. I mean, I think the other thing that we should touch on is promoting health and wellness. Like some of these park open space, like touches on promote health and wellness. So that's the other piece.
Yeah.
Like, and it might. I mean, I think in past years we've, I don't know if we've had like a subcommittee or we've had the chair and the vice chair take this before presenting and sort of, figure out where how it's going to be presented and sort of come up with that strategy. What, if we can't do it today, it might be something that's easier done with a smaller.
In terms of at the council meeting?
Yeah,
Yeah.
or,
Could it be something that you and I work on as
course.
the chair and the staff person before presenting it, since that's in 12 days?
Yeah, the commission would, the council would prefer it be 5 minutes or less.
Okay,
So it doesn't need to be a long presentation and no PowerPoints.
okay.
So really kind of reviewing the overview of what you're doing, and then if they want to drill down into something and ask more detailed questions, then
So they don't need to know every bullet?
no. You could just talk about them briefly and run down the list, and they may ask follow-up questions.
I recommend standing and reading in monotone, just reading this. It's very effective. They won't ask any questions, I promise.
Okay, what else do we need to discuss on this?
I would move, is it time for motion to accept it as amended?
I would second that motion. Is that a motion?
I don't know, okay, I'm going to move that we accept the Parks and Rec Commission work plan as amended.
I second that. Should we take a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Motion carries. Thank you. I think you skipped 6.3 again.
Did we clarify the Ocean View turf? Did we?
We discussed it, and I believe there was no discussion asking us to put it onto the work plan.
My sense is if Little League comes and makes a fantastic presentation that answers all of our questions, we could then go to council and say, well, you know what? We'd like to work on this.
It's-
Amend the work plan. if it
It's
comes
true.
to-
That is
you can always do
the option if something comes up and you want to add it, or, topical. There's, in years past, a form, you make a request of council to add it to a work plan.
Yeah.
So there's just a couple hoops to jump through, but it doesn't mean that you can never add something. At least it gives you focus on initially.
Okay.
Is it me? Oh.
Yes, 6.4.
Okay, so Friends of Albany Parks, the basic update is that we recently had the Albany bulb cleanup. They had about 20 people there. They cleaned up on the beach along the shoreline. That's where they stayed. They didn't really go into the park, and there was a lot of debris from all the storms. I think they did 20 bags of trash. They had a council member there participating, Councilmember Nason, and good group. So our first one, the first cleanup of the year, that was the first one. So the next one is Albany Hill, and there will be a gala this year for that, and then the Albany Hill cleanup. And if we can, I'd really like, because I think the first year we did this, I felt like the comments from the commission were really positive. You enjoyed being a part of them and coming back and giving reports for your comments on them and participating. We went through a little bit of time where we only had like 4 people. And so we got out of asking 2 commissioners to volunteer to either go to a gala or participate in a cleanup. And I think it would be great to get back to that. Gives you a chance.
We're limited to a gala, here in Albany. But as many who want to go to the cleanup can go, correct?
Right. We're limited to 3
At the cleanup?
for the gala.
For the gala?
Gala.
Gala.
Yeah, because that's our quorum is
Right,
4.
that I understand.
Yeah.
And
But an
that
open
oversight.
event to just do
But
cleanup.
the
yeah.
cleanup, anybody, we can all go. Okay.
Because items that come in the gala could appear on an agenda, and so,
Oh, absolutely.
See, and I would
No,
say
yeah, I'm just,
gala.
I say gala.
I'm sorry, I
I
mentioned
said
that.
gala. Where's the, so
Okay.
where's the Albany Hill Gala going to be?
I'll have to get back to you on that one.
But
I don't know exactly.
who would be interested in going to the Albany Hill Gala on March 22nd?
I think I can do that one.
Calendar. I'm not sure about my calendar.
And if it's only one, that's great,
Okay.
and then,
Well, there's enough of us that,
yeah.
yeah.
And there's enough parks, and so each time there's something that comes up, it'll be on the agenda and you volunteer. And then what you'll do is come back and kind of talk about your experience. The first we did it, it was one of my the first year starting here. It was we had a lot of commissioners that had not been in some of our parks, and then we were making decisions about them, and that didn't seem right. And so especially like Albany Hill, you're going to get to be on the hill and experience it and see what it's really like. So when you come to a meeting, you know what you're talking about. And so we'll go through each of the parks, and you'll get a chance to visit them and interact with people and hear their input on what they'd like to see in the park, improvements or changes. And some of them, the galas are really great, where you find that, and there's a few, and some of them are not. And that's a different topic, like why aren't people coming, and how come there isn't any interest in this park? And so either way, I think it's a good experience for commissioners. You get a T-shirt and you get pizza.
At the cleanups.
The cleanup.
You get snacks.
You get free food
galas,
and
Sometimes
beer and
wine.
wine. Yeah.
At the gala. So are we shooting for 2 people for the galas like that? I
minimum.
mean, it actually worked out well because if something does come up
Yeah.
and one person can't make it, then at least you have another person there.
Right.
So,
I can potentially go to the gala. So you're needing the second person for the gala?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And what we'll do is we'll connect you with Liam, and so before that, he'll send you, come, here's the date, here's where you're going to go, meet me a few minutes before. And sometimes we'll give tours if it's a facility we haven't been in for a while, just to talk about, the maintenance schedule of the tennis courts is 9 to 6, and, so you get a little bit more of a little walk around. But Albany Hill will be great. I think we've hired as a part-time person to do vegetation management. We talked about this. We hired Margot. So she'll be at the probably the gala and the cleanup, and she's very knowledgeable. So that'll be a nice experience. There's usually a walking tour of the hill on the cleanup day sometimes.
I'd be okay to have 3, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so I might do that.
I was just about to volunteer.
Well, that's fine. If you'd like, I want to leave it open. I didn't say anything because I want to leave it open for the new folks. If you want to do it,
we should go.
great,
So we also
absolutely.
need people to volunteer for the April Fool's Day cleanup.
Yeah, it's really happening.
So there are 2 things.
Can people come to the cleanup?
That day is ringing a bell for me, so I'm not going to commit at this point.
Yeah, I'm unlikely.
Okay. Okay.
I have a question. If, Shelley gave me the area where I need to recuse myself, which includes a lot of Memorial Park. So does that mean I would not go to that gala because I wouldn't be able to be part of a discussion about what happens there?
No, I think you're fine. I don't think it's, we're not taking any action, or, and it's just a discussion, and it's not a quorum. We're not voting on anything, so I think you're going to be okay. Yeah.
And they want to hear from the local community near the park,
Yeah.
so that's just the right opportunity.
Now, if the item was, should we put a community garden here, and you live across the street, then you definitely have to say, I have to recuse myself. I live within 500 feet of it. Yeah. A good question.
And wait, so the gala is at the hill? Will it be at the hill?
I need to
I'm a little
confirm where it
confused.
is,
Okay.
but normally they are in the park that we're cleaning up.
Yeah, but because Albany Hill doesn't have, I mean, it's always inside a building in the evenings, right? It's never, maybe at Terrace, was it outdoor? Well,
Yes.
Terrace, it was
Yes.
outdoor?
Yes.
Albany Hill might be a little bit tricky for an outdoor gala.
I thought we would just do it up at the Circle, top of Taft. Wouldn't that be great?
Like
In our cars?
Yeah.
I looked it up. The
Good
sunset
spot,
is at
yeah.
7:20, so it will still be light, but barely.
Did I write something funny?
No, I was
Oh,
saying
okay.
the sun will be setting at 7:20. I was worried that it was going to be dark if you were there.
It'll be dark when you go home.
Yeah.
7:20. Are you sure we're gonna
Hang out
switch
with
our
all the
clocks?
teenagers, like, drinking
Oh,
beer
no,
and
I
stuff.
just looked
Okay.
it up on Google. I don't know.
We switch our clocks this weekend.
We do.
It said 7:23.
Okay.
That's all I know. I could be wrong. Maybe I looked it up wrong.
I'll let you know where it is. I don't think it's on the hill.
And then the cleanup, I'll make it if I can. I'm just not remembering.
Okay. And then we'll send the information. It'll go out of where the meeting spot or where they're meeting for the cleanup.
I don't know if this is relevant, but I got an email, because I'm on Liam's list apparently, the volunteer appreciation party on April 8th with the Warriors game at the community center. In case, I don't know if anyone wants to or should go to that.
Go.
Yeah, I think that's a
If you volunteer,
Separate thing. All right, never mind.
They try to think of kind of a fun thing to do for volunteers. We have a wide range.
Okay, not relevant, sorry.
That's it. Thank you for that.
Measure WW project update.
So I think that we,
Sorry.
was that it?
I was just going to say, I'm not sure we really introduced the Friends of the Albany Parks program to the new members of the commission, but I think maybe they get the gist of it from our discussion.
Yeah. Was there anything else you want to add to?
No, I
Or
just.
questions? Yeah.
I understand the program, but you know that we go park to park, so each park is visited.
Well, and also,
as a
do you
gala.
understand what a gala is?
And to clean
There's
up.
no ball gowns involved.
I don't own one, that's good.
Yeah. So
We used to get emails. What do you wear? You know,
it's just a discussion
yeah.
with,
So we invite the community, there's a little presentation about what's going on with the park, and then we ask for feedback and what's going well, what would you like to see, any specific projects? There's different ways that they're handled sometimes, but and we try to hit each park once a year. And then 2 weeks later, there's a cleanup day where ideally, we're doing some of the things that were suggested 2 weeks earlier.
And as a staff, we work off the list that is generated at the galas. So Terrace Park is a good example because it's a very community-involved park. And great examples that we wouldn't have known unless we had this gala, like, oh, we wish we had a lost and found bucket, you know, a thing. What do you call that?
bench.
Storage like bin, so if people lose things. So some of the kids, that was a suggestion. Or this crosswalk went away and it's on this street and we wish we had it back, and we were able to put the crosswalk back in. So we get this list of projects for people who are using the park frequently and let us know that things take place. Or we give them updates on what we're doing in terms of like projects in the playgrounds or inspections, and that's the goal of the gala.
So is there a group that's a friend of each park, or is it one big group that is friends with all the parks? And who heads it up?
It's the recreation department. So Liam Kelly is the volunteer coordinator in my office, and he leads it up. So he organizes the events and the galas, and then we get people that come to all the parks, and there's not exclusive to each park, and it's not just a set of people. It's just open to everyone. It's a nice time. We started it because we wanted people to feel like they could be personally invested in each of the parks and take on micro projects. So if you're in the park, a few of the parks we have brooms or rakes, and you wanted to sweep the sand off the sidewalk because it drives you crazy or kids slip, like you could just grab it and sweep it while you're there, or pull some weeds, or be a part of the park in some small way, rather than just having one big cleanup project each time. So there are some good stories of people participating in that way.
But something that could be potentially confusing is there is a group, Friends of Albany Hill, I think.
That's true, yes.
But they're a separate entity concerning only that park, and they're not affiliated.
That's correct. And we partner with them on Albany Hill. And so there's also Friends of Five Creeks. And when we do creek cleanups or things near the creek, we partner with them to put on those cleanup days or projects. And we share our information.
Friends of Albany Hill have a monthly cleanup anyway, we just coordinate with them. I think.
Yeah, and we support
Get the
that.
dates,
Yeah, Liam helps get them supplies, and maintenance does the pickup of debris that comes out of those cleanups.
Anyway, I just thought that should be.
Yes.
No, it's good.
That was
Thank
helpful. All right, so moving on to 6.5, Measure WW project update. Maybe include an update on what Measure WW is?
Yes, yes. Luckily, Sue and I met, so she
Okay,
got
never mind.
the speed version of everything you guys have been working on. Measure WW, we did had a chance to talk about that and what it was. This project is the biggest one that the commission has taken on. Albany Greenway has been a project on people's minds for probably 10 years. So the bids came back today, and they look like they're well within the range, even the highest one. And this is the Albany Greenway project that we worked on, combined with the sidewalk, the Masonic sidewalk. So that project is the Albany Masonic improvements, if you see it in CIP. So this is not certified. They're going to, as I said, total everything up and make it sure it matches up, and then they'll certify the bids, and we'll have more information. So it's good. So we had it on there in case they came back really high and we needed to make adjustments to projects that we haven't started yet. And we would have needed to do that by the end of March, and that's because of the East Bay Regional Park District timeline for submitting adjustments and requests. So I think we're good.
So moving on to future agenda items.
Sounds like we need to have Ocean View Field work possibly next month, presentation, maybe? Well, maybe we can touch base with them. Anything else?
Well, we're looking at our work plan.
Yeah.
Do we know what we're going to be coming up on first?
There's a possibility of Albany Hill, depending on how long that process will take the next month.
Would we hear something if construction begins on the Pierce Street Park in April 1? I mean, just Wahoo or something like that?
Get what? Sorry, I didn't. Yeah, yes, we should do that. They said beginning April 1, beginning of April.
I don't know if it not in July.
So there may be this fence issue. I will have to update you via email of what comes up with that. If it has to be special meeting or your regular meeting. We could talk about street trees. You could take on your street tree policy.
So, well, it seems like we could set up what's the word?
Subcommittee.
Subcommittee.
It's actually a pretty good idea for us to review it, because, I mean, the tree removals come up all the time, and if you haven't read the street tree policy, then we found that could be problematic. So maybe we review it, and then at the next meeting, we figure out our subcommittee, and then at the future meeting, that subcommittee can come back and present some ideas.
Okay, so you want to do a review? That's good.
And we've got some big items on our work plan. If there's going to be a period before those start, maybe we should try to get some of the other things out of the way. I'm thinking of the park signage, although maybe that needs to coordinate with some other work too, doesn't it?
I remember looking in Albany Hill and taking pictures of all of the signs, which were almost illegible with all the graffiti on them. And then I remembered that I think some of them were
Not supposed to be
Eagle
there.
Scout projects
Yeah. Well,
or something like that.
yes.
It seems like many of these projects or these items would require staff time, so
Yeah.
at first I was thinking, well, it'll be up to you to decide what you have time for, and then I realized we're supposed to direct you on how to the extent that we have influence, which ones we want to hear first. But I think I would lean towards, since you know all of the timelines for things, having you choose which ones would come up first. Like,
If you would allow me for this next meeting to do that, that would be great. And the reason why is that we're redesigning the city's website, and April 10th is the week that it's supposed to be. We're doing training, and between now and then, I am working on a site map and all the content, so I will be pretty busy. So if there's things that we can either are a little more easy for the April, it would be appreciated. The street trees is a good one, but
Yeah.
we'll start with street trees then. Okay. April 13th.
And one other item that we could have on here, just so that we give a forum for people, is the Dartmouth Tot Lot. We're just replacing fencing there and putting in a new drinking fountain, and then we'll put in a park sign. We already put in the Big Billy trash cans there, but just so that neighbors can come, and if they want to make comments and talk about if they hate the fact that we're putting in a new fence around the playground or any item, at least it would be on the agenda.
Okay. And potentially the fence and potentially Little League, so that's quite a full agenda now. Anything else, or shall we adjourn? I'm going to say meeting adjourned.